Hey there, tent guy here. Talking about tent stuff with other dudes. Right here we got Steve Cronin from Wisconsin. Has a tent company. How you doing, Steve?
How are you?
Good. We were just talking. He said he was been busy for all of June, basically. My graduation weekend was just last weekend. His was about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago, but like I said, it seems like June in general is just nothing but graduation stuff the entire month. So
Right.
I'm catching my breath.
How was July and August look for you?
July is steady. We're busy. This is kind of a shit show.
Right. So why don't you get some background and like how you got into this, how long you've been in it, just that.
I started this company 5 years ago. Prior to this, I worked in medical services. Kind of got tired out of it, and about the same time I got tired out of that, my wife and I had taken over another business. Kind of liked working for myself and decided, hey, maybe I'll pick up a few tents and start renting them out on the weekends and with some tables and chairs. And here we are 5 years later, and a few tents has turned into 5 tents and 2,000 chairs and 300 tables. So
Right, and you do 20 wides, 30 wides, and 40 wides. And on your website, I see you go 40 wides, or 40 by 180 is the biggest one on your website.
correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. How many 40 wides do you have?
We have the ability to do 40 wides on any given weekend.
Did you say 6?
Yeah, 6.
Wow, that's how many crew? I mean, how many people do you have that work for you?
We've got about 10 guys working for me right now. We've got 2 trucks and trailer. On real heavy weekends. I've got a guy who lends me a truck and tracks mileage, and I just pay him out that way. But we're probably looking at probably a third delivery unit, whether it's a truck and trailer or a box truck next year.
Right. So wait, how can you're doing if you can do 6 40 wides in a week, then that's with 2 to 3 delivery vehicles? Wow. What's your week look like? Like, does it start Tuesday setups?
We typically start setups on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Usually Mondays, and then Mondays are kind of teardown day. Tuesday and whatever is left over for teardowns. Looking ahead at our schedule, we might start getting some setups done on Tuesday on some of our heavier weeks, especially when we get into wedding season. They'll just become a little more involved, and people always want them early. So
Yeah, I gotta imagine if 6 40 wides are going up, that could get rough. Trying to do all those on Wednesday and Thursday, plus 30 wides, plus 20 wides.
Yeah, I handle the bigger stuff with my crew, and then I've got a guy who works for me full time right now that handles all our stuff. So like the 20 wides, sometimes some 30 wides, any of just the table and chair jobs. He handles all that. So I pretty much focus on the bigger stuff with my.
So how many 40 wides are you doing in a day?
It just kind of depends. We have 6 of them, but not all of them go out. And part of the reason I have 6 of them is just kind of these built into my system. If something were to ever get damaged, we've always got something laying around.
Gotcha.
That's not that. Sometimes we get last minute requests with a customer who's been real good to us, or someone who we work with regularly, and that allows us to kind of fulfill those requests too.
Right. Right now, if something got damaged and someone needed to replace it, they wouldn't be able to. So that's smart that you have some stuff.
Yeah, our suppliers, I work with Aztec primarily on our larger tents. And I know last time I talked to my rep, they're booked out for so if you don't have something already on order for the rest of the year.
Yeah, basically. You also have high peak frame tents. Where do you get those from?
We get those through Tent and Table.
Okay, so they're easily moved around in the trailers.
Absolutely, yeah. We kind of built some custom racking. We have a trailer specifically designed for the frame tents.
Right.
That's got all the parts parts and everything in there. So I mean, literally, the only thing the guys have to do is throw the top in there and whatever tables and chairs they need, and they're ready to go.
Oh, that's cool. So I can't forget frame pieces. So for people who don't know, tent and tables frame, if it's a 20 by 20, instead of having a 20-foot long one single piece, which requires like a long trailer or box truck, they have two smaller pieces joined together with like a middle piece. So it's easy to transfer. You could transport it in a van, a pickup truck. You don't have to have that big box truck to bring it around in. Which is, I had to set one up for a customer. I haven't seen theirs until a customer bought one and we set it up for them. I thought it was pretty good quality.
I think, and the nice thing about them too, granted this year's a little weird with COVID, but usually they've always got parts stock, or you can get different sizes. So if something ever happens and one gets damaged, they're fairly easy to get parts for.
Right. Now you were saying you set up a tent for the entire winter for someone, right?
Yeah, we did an Aztec jumbo track for a ski hill in the area here. We don't typically deal with jumbo tracks. Logistically, right now, I think that would just be a huge headache because there's a lot of parts, and those take a lot of time, especially when you're not used to working with them. But yeah, it ended up all winter, and we tore it down in the spring. We're storing the top for them. They're storing all the framework up by them, and I would imagine they'll probably get a hold of us this fall to set it back up.
Right. So what they bought it through you, but do you charge them to set up?
Correct.
And then do you charge them for storage as well? Okay, cool. Yeah, I got a few like that. I didn't really break it down for them line by line. I just charged them like for us to put it up, take it down, and store it.
That's kind of the way we did it. Kind of like a lump sum.
Right.
That price.
Did anything happen to the tent in the winter? Did it come down perfectly fine?
No, it came down great. I mean, honestly, the sides they had on it, we sent in for cleaning. Those were kind of a mess, but the top wasn't, there was a little bit of grime on it, but they looked at it and were like, nah, we don't really think it needs to be cleaned. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. So they didn't even have it cleaned.
All right, that's cool. When do you put that back up?
I'm not sure yet. They'll probably get a hold of us later on this summer or this fall. Usually don't open December or something like that, but last year we told them we wanted to get it up before it got too cold, and that vinyl just becomes in the butt to work with. So
yeah, if you try to put it up too cold, the vinyl's gonna shrink, and it's gonna be really hard to get into those Keeter tracks.
Yep.
We got a question. Where are you out of, Steve?
Wausau. Hey, Randy. Grove.
He kind of cuts out a little bit, but it was Wausau, Wisconsin. Wisconsin cheese. But yeah, you talked to Randy?
Yeah, I've talked to professional rental operators group on Facebook.
Right. Oh my God, there's so many Facebook groups. I actually don't think I might be a member of that one. I don't know. But so like, what are your plans for well, hold on, let me move on. You're 5 years in. Is this now your full-time job?
Yeah. And I just hired about 2 weeks ago here, just hired a full-time like an operations manager. Just gonna stay on year round.
Are they answering the phones?
They are not. I'm still the one taking the bookings. I just on 2 weeks ago, I'm trying to get him up to speed with doing setups and teardowns and all that kind of stuff. And once I get him up to speed, my plan is to kind of have him start taking the reins on some of that stuff. We also recently acquired a spacewalk franchise, so we're doing bounce houses now too.
Okay.
Which is an animal. I mean, like the phone rings almost as much with that phone as it does for 10. So I like to kind of give him the reins to that and let him deal with it, but see how things transpire in the next couple.
Right. So you're still taking, like, you're out on the road and you're taking phone calls.
Correct.
That's rough. I used to do that, and then you have to get back to them later at night with the quote or email or whatever.
Yeah, it's been a challenge this year, but I think doing that has allowed me to, I'm finally getting to the point where I'm starting to get more comfortable, in some of the keys to some people with doing some of this stuff. Whereas before, I was always kind of nervous. I don't want to say I had trust issues, but when it's your baby, it's hard to relinquish some of that control to somebody else.
Yeah,
Um, you don't want to have something screwed up.
yeah, I think we all know that feeling. Like I didn't give up control for a while. Even when I could have been having multiple crews go out, I still was on every job with one crew, and we'd have really late nights. And then finally, I was like, all right, we're splitting to two crews, and then it was a lot better hours, but I was still on the phone. And then I finally did that, and then like my life is so much better. But it's like hard to do. But once you do one of the steps, the next one gets easier, and then it's to the point of like, all right, you just go do that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point we're getting to now. I'm getting a lot more comfortable with kind of just delegating stuff to them and knowing that it's going to get done properly. I mean, he's my full. I do have I do have two crew members who have worked for me for 2 or 3 years now, working with him, which is super helpful because yeah, he's the guy, he's the older guy that I'm trusting to do to make sure everything goes right. But it's nice to have full experienced guys there to help the setup. Just, there might be
Right.
a tip or two that they know that he doesn't. So.
Right. So what is your plans for the future?
Um, the way this year's going with COVID and the craziness and just how stupid busy everybody is, not just me, but I can see it in the Facebook groups. Everybody's nuts. Where I don't really, I don't know. If I want to grow.
Right.
Next year. I kind of logistically and work on improving our process instead of increasing inventory. And
Right.
go from there.
If you can improve your process, logistics, and efficiency, you can make more money, more profit out of the work, and not have to be investing in more stuff and working longer and harder hours.
I think it's a necessary evil. Sometimes you have to, if you want to grow, you have to take a year to work on some of those in the logistics in order to grow. Because if you don't have those in place, on more work than you can handle, and the next thing you know, you're not sitting in a good spot on Friday night when someone needs something done and it's not done.
Right. So what are some logistic things and efficiency things that you guys do, like with certain tools and stuff up?
I mean, like I talked about, we kind of right now we have two bigger trailers. One of them set up for the high poles. I mean, the pole tent trailer, poles are in there, ratchets are in there, um, center poles in the ceiling. So a lot of that stuff's in there. 3 weeks we do have to kind of restock it, but it's designed so that we don't have to move stuff in and out so much. With the tables and the chairs and the top. That's really the only thing that has to go in and out of those trailers on a regular basis.
Right. So you're not forgetting a center pole ever.
I wouldn't say we're not forgetting one ever, and I'm sure there's other people right now who've been in the same boat where they've gotten to a job and been like, darn it, everybody, it happens.
Yeah.
But it that is the idea, is that everything be in there so you don't forget that stuff.
Right. I just want to buy extra center poles and side. Well, I have a lot of extra side poles, but I just want to buy extra center poles and just attach them to the top ceiling of the truck. But everyone still has to load like normal. Don't know that those are there, but they're there just because things mess up all the time.
Yeah, I feel your pain. I go put up a 20 by 40 high peak frame an hour from us,
Yeah.
and they were short one of those connectors that you were talking about from the table. One connector an hour away.
Yeah. And then you're sitting at the job site trying to figure out, well, how can I do this without it? And then you
Yep.
can't.
Well, like I said, I'd be lying to you if I told you everybody in this industry knows nothing ever goes completely perfect.
Yeah, exactly. In that instance, I would have the office manager Uber it out because it'd be cheaper for a one-way Uber than to send someone back and come all the way back.
Yeah, fortunately, I had someone in town here to run over to my shop real quick, grab the part they needed, and ran it up to them, so they weren't sitting for too long. But it is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Buy some of those extra pieces and put them behind the seat of the pickup truck.
Yeah, right.
I had a 20 by 20 last year. I forgot one of my 20-foot high peak frame tent poles basically snapped, and I forgot to buy a new one. So I had to take legs, and I ran to Lowe's and bought some pipe and screwed I put the pipe on the inside and screwed them. It did not look pretty. The tent stayed up, but the one side kind of just like bowed in. I just didn't. That was a big mess up last week. And then our last job of the day, a 30 by 40, there was just no center poles on there. So I dropped the kids off. I got the kids that work for me, and they did all the staking. They did everything, and they put all the poles in. And then I showed up an hour later with the center poles, and we put them in. But it wasn't fun, especially on graduation weekend.
Yeah, I've I had a couple weekends. Well, I shouldn't say weekends, but I had a couple Friday nights over the last month that I know I was out running around getting stupid little things done till 9-10 o'clock, and have fun.
Right.
But hopefully the looking at my schedule, I think the worst of those weekends are behind us. I mean, you go from 25 or 30 different jobs that you're running to in June to doing graduation parties and stuff like that. You get into wedding season, you might have 9 or 10 of them, but they're bigger jobs. It's a lot easier to manage going to 9 or 10 places than it is going to 5 or 30.
Yeah, and the problem with we had a nightmare because everyone was calling saying, "Hey, when are you going to be here? When are you going to be here?" I messed up kind of. I was giving them 2 to 3 hour time windows, but you can't control. You show up somewhere, and it's way, 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 way in the backyard, and it just takes you forever. And then it just delays you down the line. Every single person was just calling saying, "When are you going to be here?" Because no one understands that it's a delivery company primarily, and factors change. Also, they don't understand that they're not the only party happening. They just think like we're going in the shop, getting their stuff, and coming right to them. But it's challenging doing the scheduling when it's so busy.
When I book, I always tell people, I give them a 3-day window. Like, I tell them you might be out as early as Wednesday, and we'll be in the week of your event to coordinate a setup time.
Right.
I always try to prioritize the stuff that I know people are going to be on my case if it's not done like by the end of the day Thursday or first thing Friday morning. And what I mean like by that is like your weddings, your bigger events or something like that. I try to always work away from town and then work my way back in, so that if we run short on time on Friday, at least we're not traveling all over the place. Okay, yeah, we've got all this in town work.
Right. That's smart. So yeah, I do the same thing. I say it's going to be anywhere from 1 to 3 days before your event we're setting up. And I do 40 wides on Wednesday, 30 wides I do on Thursday, and 20 wides I do on Thursday and Friday. And same thing, Sunday night I tell them a time window, but I can't do a time window anymore. I just got to tell them it's going to be Thursday. So have the tent marked because we don't know what time we're showing up.
And that's the point I'm at too. I'll tell people, they email me and say, when are you going to be here? And I'm like, give you a day. I can't give you time. You guys can't be there. Put a lawn chair or some cones or something in the yard where you want it, and my guys will figure it out.
Right.
Just let me.
Yeah. I mean, even if the customer's going to be there, I still have them mark it out because I don't want to show up and the mother of the grad student or whoever is just like, oh, can you move it 2 feet that way? Oh no, like that just is killing time. I want you to have decided where the tent's going before I get there. If there's a problem with where you want it, I'll tell you, but I just want you to know several days in advance where it's going. Good night, Cold Rice. Did you see that? I see a Bears jersey. Hell yeah, bear down.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Bears fan.
Yeah.
A little bit ashamed of it sometimes. But,
Right. Everyone's got something they like. So on your website, I saw you do linens, and I saw the price. So I'm assuming you own linens. You're not constantly sub-renting linens.
we do not own them. We rent a local distributor.
Oh, okay. So that's why the price is what it's at.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because they don't do like real fancy, all super basic. Just your standard. They've only got like one, two, three, four standard sizes of linens, or not sizes, four colors, and they come in standard sizes like 90, 52 by 114, 72 by 72, and then they have, I think, 20 or 25 different napkin colors we can get. We stock just white. I stock like the basic, like 52 by 114s and 90 by 90s. Any special colors or napkins or special sizes we order in on an as needed basis. So that's, I guess, kind of how we handle it.
Right. Who are you using for the special stuff?
Well, like I said, they have some special stuff like
Okay.
different colors napkins. So I get it all from them. I have looked at Choice to start getting into like the real fancy stuff, Choice party linens, but right now where it's like I don't have time to deal with that, and I'd rather not extend myself that far dealing with something like that than doing what I do and do it good.
Right.
So,
Party Rent Knowledge has a question. Who do you buy your inflatables from?
I actually buy them. We are Spacewalk franchise. So Spacewalk provides them to us.
Oh, okay.
All we have to do is pay for shipping when they send us. I actually just took over, so I have an extra unit. I only have everything that was already used by the previous branch manager. But I think as we grow, basically what works is, they'll look at how we're doing, financially, how often things are going out. And if they see room that, hey, you guys could use some more inflatables, they send them to us. We don't pay for the units themselves.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'll have to look more into that. Have you ever thought about foam, like the foam cannons, foam machines?
I have not. Just kind of getting into that whole realm with inflatables and stuff. I than I can chew, but I'm already have enough going on with what we're doing that I've I don't really have any urge to think of anything else right now and just focus on, making sure that what we have is for me before I start taking on new projects.
Right. When you're doing the inflatables, do you also have to be doing let me backtrack. I know a lot of inflatable guys, they also have the snow cone and the cotton candy and the popcorn. It's kind of just goes hand in hand with that kind of party. Do you have that stuff as well?
We don't. That is something I have kind of given some thought to. My wife and my wife runs another business that's kind of like a concession business in a local aquatic center here in the Wausau area. But we've got experience with all that kind of stuff, cleaning it and maintaining it and taking care of it. So it's just one of those things. Like I don't know how I feel about renting that kind of equipment out and then having to deal with it on a weekly basis and everything like that. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't want to do the cleaning of that every week.
It's one of those things. I think as we grow and I'm able to take on some more full-time staff and delegate some of that stuff to people, we'll do it. But right now,
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. Actually, I was going to ask you about your dance floor because I was looking on your website. How are you doing with the dance floor rentals? I am doing good. Like I'm getting all my dance floor out pretty much every single weekend. And I just bought the brand new Seco dance floor, so it's like super easy to set up. Your dance floor, I noticed, I don't know what brand it is, but you need a subfloor for your dance floor, don't you?
Yeah. So in the past, we started out with a couple dance floors from Bed and Table. Not ideal for grass setup. Really
Right.
not ideal.
No.
We would kind of build a sub underneath them. This last year, I do Snap Lock, and what we're doing with them, they have a product called I think it's Fast Decking. Is the snap like the subfloor that they sell to put underneath it. I don't know if it's their brand or if they just buy it from someone else. And don't quote me on that name. I'd have to go to the website and look. I can't remember. But they come in like 2 foot by 1 foot pieces. Get them from them. They're actually already pre-assembled in, I think, 4 foot by 4 foot pieces. They've essentially 8 of those 2x1s that are already put together, and then they have pins that go through them. But we put that down underneath those, and so far, I mean, it seems we haven't had any issues with it. The only thing that kind of peeves me about it, I shouldn't me, but that isn't ideal about it, is when you put that underlayment down, because they come in 2 foot by 1 foot pieces. Sometimes you end up with that underlayment sticking out underneath the edging of your dance floor. I haven't had any complaints on it yet, but it just like the greatest.
Right. Yeah, I got you. I fortunately I worked for a rental company beforehand, and I knew that subfloors. I hate subfloors because number one, it takes time. Number two, they're always dirty, and number three, they don't work that great all the time. So I just straight up bought 4x4 Palmer Snyder panels. Never used the subfloor. The downside with that though is then those panels can't be used inside because they're so dirty. But then I just use Snap Lock floors for inside only because that's a nice hard surface and you can set up a 20 by 20 in like 5 minutes. So I run Snap Lock for indoors and big 4x4 panels for outdoors.
Yeah, and what we do, tell you the truth, like I don't worry so much about how dirty panels are when I pick them up on our dance floors. We stack them up, and if they're covered in something that's going to mold or whatever, we'll take care of it. But honestly, what we do, we wait till we set them back up. When we set them back, throw a mop in the truck. Once they're set up, so it's all ready to go, and the customers keep using it right there.
Yeah, that's what we do too. We have a mop, Purple Power, and a squeegee, and we clean them right on site. But the undersides, because I don't put a tarp down or a subfloor, the undersides are dirty, so I can't go then put that in a banquet hall, on their carpet.
And we don't get a lot of demand for like banquet halls. Every time that we have to use our dance floors, it seems to be like it's under one of our tents.
Right.
That looks like total garbage. But anyways, yeah, I don't get a lot of demand for all dance floor rentals. It seems like a lot of the banquet halls up here have their own.
Right. Yeah, a lot of them do. We go to this one restaurant all the time. They got an upstairs banquet hall, and sometimes they need a dance floor. So we just got these Snap Lock pieces on movers dollies 2x3, so you can get through doors, and then you just snap them together and real quick make a bunch of money. Clint says he just bought Palmer Snyder dance floor, and Justin's asking, I forgot. Where was it? He asked when does my white floor come in? So I got a white floor from Palmer Snyder. So that should be coming in soon. I'm going to set it up at the Airbnb. It's going to be like so the Airbnb is kind of rustic looking, and then it's going to have this like shiny white dance floor that you can get for it, and bring in a little bit of like class and have rustic all around you. You can use. What's
white
that?
dance for you. That's going to be fun to keep clean.
It's only going to be indoor only. Palmer Snyder said like it's best used indoor. Definitely don't ever use it under a clear tent or outside because the sun hitting it will like make it like start to like curl up. So
Okay.
I'm only using the white inside. It's never going outside. You can use Snap Lock for mobile roller rinks as well. Yeah, I think they have a product specifically for that.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about that.
Right. But let's see. So you got high peak tents, pole tents, your tables and chairs. Like what style chairs do you go to and what style chairs do you not want to do? Like I don't want to do Shivari chairs anymore.
Right now, all we have is we've got thing, some people call them Samsonite chairs or Hercules chairs, whatever. I get them on the table. Folding chair. That's our big seller. Have a white padded resin chair that we get from them as well. Those are the only two chair options I have currently. I've thought about doing other stuff, but to tell you the truth, I just don't get other stuff. And when I do, they're super far and few between. So I guess with tying my warehouse, it's going to go out once or twice a year.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta cater to your area. Like I bought Shivari chairs, and they went out once a month, but they take up a lot of space. And so I'm just like, screw this. I'm backpedaling. I'm gonna sell these and just do what I get phone calls for every single day.
Yeah, know your market and know what your market.
Exactly. He's charging $25 per 3x3 panel. Am I too high? You might be. I'm charging $25 for a 4x4 panel. So it's like less money the larger you get, basically.
Yeah, I don't charge per panel. I have some sizes listed on my website, and we just go off that.
Right.
Like if you do a 20 by 20, I'm just straight up $500 for a 20 by 20. If you do it, I think I'm at 300.
Right.
So think about 15 by 15 if you're using a 25 panel.
Right. Exactly.
You might, 25 bucks a panel might be $10.
I like that because like when we do it per panel, but then a customer says, I want a 20 by 20, but my center poles in the 40 wides are 20 feet away. And it's like, well, you can't really do that. You can do a 16 by 20. But they want a 20 by 20. It's like, and it's hard to explain to them why. And because the center poles are not exactly 20 feet away, edge to edge. The center pole is like, that thick. And so you can't fit 20 by 20 in there.
Yeah. I've just learned when quoting them underneath tents, like if you're going to do, if you're going to put one whole end of the tent, let's say it's a 40 wide and you're going to, put up like a 20 by 40 dance floor in there. I'll quote them for an 18 or, for like an 18 by 40. Just because I know I'm going to have problems. It's not going to.
Yeah. Or you're going to have to take that center pole and angle it a little bit. And then some customers will be like, why is that center pole angled? Is that safe? Yeah, it's safe. It doesn't look so great, but it's fine.
Right.
So I saw your warehouse. It's all ground level, so loading into trailers is just fine. But you mentioned you wanted to get a truck. Does your warehouse have a loading dock as well, or you'd have to load up into the truck?
It does not. So I think if we look at doing a box truck, it's going to be something that has weight on it. Yeah. And the reason I'm leaning towards doing that is we purchased a bunch of used staging. We started getting a lot of requests. And right now, like we have them on carts, we roll them up into the trailer. It's fine. You have to get, two guys on them to make sure it's done safely, but it's a headache, like stuff like that. I'm kind of at the where it'd be nice to have a lift gate that you could just roll that on there, roll it into your trailer, be done for rolled into your box, be done with it. And the same goes for the tables. Like I need to find a more efficient way to move our tables around right now than we do, which is basically just guys come up and moving them and loading them in, loading them out. It'd be super nice if for some of the bigger jobs where we have these 60 or 70 tables going to a job, have them on carts or something that we could just roll into a truck and.
Right. We load all our 8-foot tables by hand, unless it's like a big thing where they're just getting tables and chairs. Then the day before, we'll preload the tables onto movers dollies and ratchet them, and then put them in the truck. But like when I'm doing a wedding setup, all those tables on dollies would just take up too much space as opposed to standing straight up in the truck. And then we'd have to bring 2 trucks out to do just one wedding. But when we do those jobs where it's just 100 tables and 1,000 chairs, then we can do that, and then it makes unloading it super fast with the lift gate.
Oh, absolutely. And I can see that already, especially looking ahead of my schedule this year. I mean, I've got some up here where I think we don't have like a ton of jobs going on, but it would almost be more beneficial for me to like take my entire group and go out on a Wednesday, because if we 40 by 100s and a 40 by 120 and they're all within 15 minutes of each other, we might just go set tents on Wednesday and then circle back on Thursday with the chairs, whatever else they want. Just to that's the most labor intensive part, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I love bringing 6 dudes on a 40 wide, because I mean it can go up in like 30 minutes if you got jackhammers and stuff. You turn around to do something and it's already done.
Yeah. Wow, 30 minutes to do, like, how big of a 40 wide? Are you doing like a 40 by 40 or like 60?
No, so 40 by 100 is really the biggest I go. I can do longer, just take sections from other parts, but I only advertise up to 40 by 100. But I look at the next week going forward. So if we're taking down a 40 by 100 and the next week is a 40 by 80, we'll only take out the middle section. So then we only have to lace up one section on the next job, because an end and mid will still be together. So that saves time. And I bought giant bags so I can roll 2 sections up together and still get them bagged. And then we got 3 jackhammers and 6 dudes lifting 2 poles at once. It just makes everything fast. But the biggest thing is the lacing.
Yeah, those. Wow. Those sections get heavy though. I mean, what brand tent do you have?
Aztec.
Okay, so we're gonna run with what series?
1500. It's the one that's compatible with Eureka, because I got Eureka people around me. So if I need a mid, I can get it in there.
We've got all 1200. I'm going, man. I know like how much I get rolling up sometimes. Like, I don't want to sound lazy, but we all get those days. That's got to be super heavy having 2 of those sections together in the same bag. I mean, do you guys still? How do you move those? Do you just roll them up and then put them in the bag, put them on a dolly, and throw them in the trailer, or how do you take care of that?
Yeah, well, we got 26-foot trucks with giant lift gates. But yeah, we got the carts from Granite Industries where there's 4 wheels, so that supports its own weight. I mean, one section of a tent of a 40 wide tent is just easy to us. That's like a piece of cake. Like, it's crazy when we have to just move one mid, because we most of the time have at least 2 sections together. And even then, it's not. We've just gotten so used to it. It's not hard. Just one guy. What's that?
Yeah, you get accustomed to it.
Yeah. So one mid is just like, feels like a 20 by 40 pole tent that you can just like pick up. We don't pick it up, obviously. We still whatever, because they are heavy. But not having to lace every single piece together saves a lot of time.
Interesting thought. I'm gonna have to give that some more thought.
But you have to. So we take out the flange in the middle, because we don't want that damaging anything when it rolls up. And
Sure.
we fold it with 3 guys. So the end and the mid, someone will grab where the 2 come together, and the other guys will grab the corners, and we'll fold it 3 times, and then we'll fold it 3 times the other way, and then we take the ends and just bring them in a little bit, not all the way, just about halfway, because if you bring them in all the way, then there's just a giant amount of material in the very center. So we just bring them in a little bit, roll, and that keeps it kind of even. And we just roll it the same way each time. So when we get onto a job, we know which way it's supposed to unroll, so we don't have to spin it. And then we just lace up the few pieces that we need. But
Good idea.
you have to be very organized with it. You have to pay attention to what's happening. And sometimes you got to pay attention to what's happening the following week, because you don't want, like if I take down a 40 by 100 to make a 40 by 60, so I leave an end and mid together, 2 mids that we're not going to use, I keep together, and an end. But then the next week I got a 40 by 80 going up. Now I have to get to the job site and take apart 2 mids before I can even do it. You know what I mean? So a lot of times you got to look 2 weeks ahead to know what you're doing. So it gets a little challenging. What's the biggest tent you've done?
So we advertise the 40 by 180 on our website, and that's because I have the mids and the ends to do that. I like to give people as many options as possible. So, but currently the biggest I've done so far is a 40 by 140.
Right. See, I hate it when, like, if I did a 40 by 200, I could do that, but then that just leaves me, then I can only do 40 by 40s. I hate it. I'd rather just get out a bunch of 40 by 100s than like a huge tent and then a bunch of just 40 by 40s, because they barely go out 40 by 40s.
Yeah, I think it just depends on your market though too. Like believe it or not, I do quite a few 40 by 40 up here. Hi.
I always try to push them into the 30 by 60 though, because I want that 40 wide to be 80 or 100, and I don't want them taking just the 2 ends,
Yeah, and I guess for a long while, I only had 130 wide, so maybe that's why, because 30 wide was gone, and all we had left was 40 by 40 or whatever. So I don't know, but now we've got wide. So,
Do you have any jackhammers or anything? People in the comments are talking about various jackhammers and stake drivers.
I use the Rhino Multi Pro. That's what I use. I had that I got from Tent and Table. I was not happy with it. Got rid of it.
Go
ahead.
The Thor is that what you had?
I don't know. I think that's what they're selling now. For a while, they were selling. I think it was and it looked almost identical to what a Rhino Pro looked like, but that does not hit the same. They just don't hit as hard.
Okay. Yeah. Tent and Table now has the Thor. Randy's got the Thor. I got the Thor. I mean, it's our favorite one now. Like I only have one because they're on back order. But we fight for it every morning. Who's got more stakes to do? And then that crew takes it. But I'm waiting to get. I want to get 6 in, so that every guy on every truck has a Thor. They're just so fast and they're good.
Yeah, but I like the Rhinos for that. I might be willing to give one a shot, but the Rhinos seem to have worked well for us. The only downfall, I don't know how much you do a lot of tents on asphalt.
we try to keep it with the blocks on asphalt, but yeah, we do put stakes through asphalt.
And we do too. I don't do a lot of them. But I do, I'd say, I don't know, a handful of them a summer, but it seems you got to do one on asphalt. It's a monster. You're blasting 60 or 70. The rhinos will do it. Just don't beat them up. When we get a week where we got a lot of asphalt setups or something like that, it seems like some of the, I want to say stuff rattles apart, but we had quite a few asphalt setups earlier this year, and I can tell you right now, I got a couple gaskets that need to be replaced. I actually have kicked last week
Right.
because there's leaking grease everywhere.
We've got
Yeah,
I originally bought Atlas Copcos because I thought that they would just be like monsters, and they are monsters. So that's generally what we use for asphalt. It's a jackhammer with an attachment. The only problem with them is they're so heavy. Like your Rhino and the Thor, you can kind of just like stab a stake in the ground, and then one person can just go over and go, get it in. The Atlas Copco, either someone needs to hold the stake or you need to pre-hammer it. Otherwise, if you put that up on there and try to jackhammer it, you'll blow your back because the stake will just move around on you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I guess truthfully, that's the thing I love about those rhinos. I mean, even if it's on asphalt, one guy can still pick up the stake with one hand and hold that tool with one hand and get it started.
Exactly.
I like having two guys, but if you have to do it, I can do it.
Yeah, I was anti those little ones until Randy showed me a video of it, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. Now it's my favorite. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it makes 40 wides for us even faster now, because before, like I said, we had to stab it in, pre-hammer it so that the guy running the jackhammer didn't hurt his back. But now no one needs to pre-hammer. You just stab it in and go.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
How are you transporting your tents and chairs around? Like, what kind of cart do you have?
We've got, I think they're called them, if you go to like Tent and Tables website, they've got it marketed as a Mantis mover, I think.
Okay.
It forks on it. We've got a handful of those. Those seem to work really well for tables, everything. Or not tables, not so much tables, but tents and chairs. Like I said, the tables we move by hand.
Right.
The parts we use movers.
Okay, I got you. So your chairs are on this cart where the forks go under them?
We actually carts. We built it out of 2x4s that all of our chairs sit on. They have an inch and a half. Well, it's the width of a 2x4, an inch and a half gap underneath them to get those forks underneath.
Okay, so I've been seeing a lot of people talk about those lately, and my thought is, I'd rather have the chairs on wheels, so that in the warehouse and on a lot of deliveries, you can just wheel them to where they got to go, off and on the truck and into the building. Whereas the Mantis mover or the Mongo mover, you got to have a whole bunch of carts for a whole bunch of guys to be able to move things. Or if you only got a few carts, then it just is like a little slower. So I prefer everything being on wheels and moving them with the granite hand truck when we need to on grass.
I've got 3 of those carts. I think I might in the future get a couple more. Keep things more efficient. But up here, I don't want to say that we're completely rural, because immediate Wausau area here has 100,000 people in the general area. But we also service a lot of the outlying areas outside of here. I'd say the vast majority of the work that we do is outdoors, rural areas. Like, we're not areas where if you put those carts and try to wheel those carts off your trailer onto the grass, they're going to get stuck. For at least for us, putting them on the skid and moving them that way seems to work super well. And that's what we've just found has worked for us. So.
I get it. They're both good things. if you had like a loading dock, though, anyone who has a loading dock and you're just loading into the truck, try the wheels, because it just makes loading go faster. Like we can load 1,000 chairs in like 10 minutes.
Well, absolutely. I can totally see that if you had a dock. Totally.
Yeah. And then with the lift gate, then you wheel them down onto the people's driveway. Then when we hit the grass, sometimes if the grass is hard enough, we can push them. If not, then we just put the hand cart under it and tip them down and then bring them out. But it really helps with gym and like arena setups and stuff too, because you just lift gate 4 stacks of chairs down at a time and then roll them in. But we got a question here. Are you rebar or stakes? I've never really talked about rebar, but some companies do use rebar.
We use just stakes.
Double-headed?
Yeah, double. Yeah, I do have some of our smaller, like 20 wides, and have, which I kind of hate because in there. And
yeah, and then you can't get the cap on.
Yeah, well, we actually have. When I first started this, and we had a bunch of 20 wides, the 20 wides, and 20 by 30s and 20 by 40s. All the tents came with single stake or single head stakes. I didn't know any better, so I actually have stake caps that I cut.
Yeah.
So that they fit over the stake with the ratchet kind of coming through them. But as we go forward, I'm not doing that anymore. Everything I buy will be double head because I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I think we all have some single-headed stakes because we've all in the beginning bought used tents or bought used stakes. I have those stakes in a different barrel just in case we need them. And we have, like you, a bunch of split caps. So like sometimes if that gets mixed in, we're like, hey, when you're putting on the caps, try to find one that is split so we can get it over this. They're just annoying.
I agree. I hate them.
When are you boys getting electric dollies? I'm 38, so I'm guessing at 40 I'll get it when I don't want to carry things as much. Right?
By the time I'm your age, that I'm just sitting in an office and I got other people doing all the work, so I don't have to worry about it.
How old are you? Where was that?
30.
30. Okay. Yep. I pay people to sit in the office. I want to be out there. I like being out there, making fun of my employees' moms, and they're making fun of my mom, and we're having a good time, and talking about their sisters, and it's fun.
It is, and when I say that, I don't mean that in a literal sense. I do enjoy getting out and working. I can only hope that by the time I'm 40, though, my hours are. Hopefully, by that point, I've got a slew of employees, so I'm not the guy stuck working on a Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Once you get an office guy, if you do go that route, life becomes a lot easier. And then once you get those people you can trust who goes out, life becomes so much easier too. You only have to now worry about a certain amount of work for a certain day while the other people are out there making you money. Yep. Who has the hottest sister? Justin's met most of the people. None of their sisters are hot, but you still say crude comments to each other about each other's sisters. My sister's probably the hottest, so like that's not cool on my part. I guess they can bust on me more than I can bust on them.
I've got this kid working for me. It's like the company joke that his hot mom and everybody makes.
Right. I mean, in this business, you have to, because it's such grueling work. Everyone kind of like everything works better when people are getting along and like making fun of each other. But Randy's 55. He's still out there. And Randy has a normal job and he has to go out afterwards and set up tents. Randy nonstop works.
That's rough. I've been there. Enjoy that. I'm thankful and fortunate that I'm in the position I am now to not have to do that. The last year, especially last year with COVID.
Yeah.
The last years to kind of struggle. I left my job two years ago to do this full time, and it was definitely a super hard decision, but I don't regret it. And one thing I've always found is that even if you get weeks where you run short on work, there's never a shortage of people looking for help, whether it be on Facebook or Craigslist or whatever. There's always work out there that you can find to help get you through, a couple month stretch where you're slow.
Yeah, definitely. There is. I didn't suffer during COVID. People still had weddings because they couldn't have them anywhere else. So they had them in their backyard.
Did you shut down completely?
Oh, yeah. At one point, the max you could have was 50-person weddings indoors. You were only allowed 4 dances, and no one else was allowed to dance, and no one was allowed to get up. But in people's backyards, I don't know. I'm there on a Wednesday. I don't come back till Monday or Tuesday.
That's we played the same card. We were shut down completely from March 17th or whatever until it was like the second week of May. But it seemed like once that happened, things kind of opened back up here, and we were setting up 40 wides like crazy by July of last year. So I don't know. I think it depends on the area you live in. Like I said, up here we're a lot more rural. I don't want to bring politics into this, but I think when you live in a heavily populated area, it's totally different than when you're in a rural area where everybody's mentality is, I don't really care. So
yeah, I'm in a mix. So the towns that are a little more like the taxes are higher, the schools are better. They all canceled everything for the year. But then 2 days later, someone out in the rural area, with acres of land, they would book the same thing. So I got to see both sides of it. Like, yeah, if you're in a rural area, people don't really care that much. You're usually rural people are a lot, not to sound mean, people, but we could do a 40 by 60 in the rich neighborhood, same table, same chairs, everything. And we could do this in the rural area. The rural area people, they want to help. They cook us hot dogs. They give us waters. They tip. The same job in the rich neighborhood, they complain. They tell you to move things 10 times. No tip, no water. I prefer who everyone says is like, the not rich people or the dirt bags out in the nasty town out there. They're way nicer people. I prefer that.
Yeah, you show up with a tent that's maybe not completely bleached white, and they don't care. They're like, sweet, we're out of the rain.
Right, exactly. And they want to help you.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Like we did this guy was massively rich. He has a paving company, and he was standing there watching us, and you could tell he was getting antsy. He came over and started unloading the truck with us and everything because he built his entire riches on manual labor. He was not going to sit there and watch us work when he couldn't work. He wanted to work, and I love it. Oh, this is Matt. Matt is the driver of my other truck. So I was in a rural area one time, and it was a brand new 30 by 60 or 40 by 80 or something like that. And it was going over this big dusty patch. And I said to them, I didn't know it was going to be so dirty here. And he just loves that line. He says it to me all the time. Whenever it's dirty somewhere, he's like, I didn't know it was going to be so dirty. I mean, come on. It was like a brand new tent. I didn't want to really put it up in this dust field.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. I've had, we do our best to keep them clean. We use drop cloths and everything. Obviously, drop cloths don't every speck of dirt off of them, but do what you can.
Yeah, I just blitzed my 40 by 100 today because the valance, the part that hangs down, was getting some mildew on it. So we folded over all the valance, and I used blitz on the whole thing. Came out looking beautiful. Let's see. Buddy Murray just made. Oh, go ahead.
I used to do all my cleaning myself. This spring I stopped down to a company about 2 hours south of here to have just professionally cleaned in their washer. And after I saw the difference in how clean everything came out from them and how much time and money and energy it saved me,
Yeah.
I did my entire inventory down there. I don't even want to do it.
Right. No. Cleaning by hand sucks, but in the middle of the season when there's mildew stuff on the underside of the tent, Blitz just makes it perfectly white. Like you spray it on and 10 minutes later, it's just back to looking brand new. Doesn't do anything for the top because the Blitz only handles the mildew. Yeah, it's a crazy product. Let's see. Just made a trip to Fred's Tents for 40 wides thought of me. I just ordered 100 steaks from them because I didn't have enough steaks for graduation weekend because my business partner, a different business, has some of my old tents and he used my steaks during graduation weekend and I didn't have enough. So now I'm buying a whole lot more. Hi, my name is Adam and I'm effing pissed. Yeah, that's a funny story too. I'll tell it again. Basically, I showed up somewhere. This guy changed my contract. I was hungry for money. So I let him change it. The main thing he changed was about delivery being to a convenient location. You're going to get charged more. He lived up a mountain. And it just took way more time to get up there than I thought it would. Plus, he wasn't answering his phone and we couldn't find the right driveway. So I was just so mad. Plus, my friend was egging me on. Like, I can't believe you let someone change your contract. So I get up there and I'm like, hi, are you James? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm Adam and I'm effing pissed. And then we just yelled at each other for 10 minutes. And then we put up the tent. It was awkward. Matt was there. Let's see. Oh, I forget what these are called. A boost thing. Hey, how can I purchase a restroom trailer right now? Every company I called said about 5 months lead time. Yes.
Yeah, good luck.
If you're trying to buy a restroom trailer right now, yes, 5-month lead time is a good lead time. Some of them are even longer than that. Some of them you're not getting for a year. The best way to get one right now is to look on every single Craigslist that you can think of, not just your local one. You may have to drive 3 states away. Search Facebook Marketplace. Join some of the Facebook groups and ask if anyone's selling any, because you're not going to get one built for you in any speedy time. Your best bet is to buy a used one. And if it's far away, send them a deposit and then go get it and pay the rest, because you're not going to be able to get a new one in.
I think that's pretty much the case for a lot of things right now. Tables and chairs you can still get out of the suppliers, but like a tent's got to be built. Here in the States right now. But good luck. Everybody's pretty well booked up.
Yep. I needed 2 ovens and I called today to just ask what the lead time was. And it's not going to be in until October. And even then, if a whole bunch of people order them, everything that comes in is going to be spoken for. And then you're going to have to wait a lot longer. So like right now, the best places, it's called the Super Chat. Thank you, Justin. The best way to buy things is used or auctions, or you're going to be waiting. That's really the gist of it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Well, all right.
Even with auctions, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, like a lot of them are online auctions. I don't like doing the online auctions. I like going in person. But at this point, if you need something, you may have to do online auctions. Let's see. Randy ordered chairs off Amazon cheaper than I could get from anyone. Free freight. So, Randy, are they rental chairs? Do they stack, or are they just like, church basement fire hall chairs? Because I do see some rental equipment being sold on Amazon, but every time I see it, it's a lot more expensive because they're like reselling it.
Yeah.
Fan back stacking chairs. Okay. That's cool.
The thing about that too is, the relationships I've built with some of my distributors and I don't want to screw them over by going to Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, well, right now you may have to. He's buying them off of eBay, stackable Samsonites. Yeah, you might have to if you need them for next week. I'm going to talk to a local restaurant supply company because he said he has those ovens. They're going to be a little more expensive than buying them from RSS, but I kind of need them, so going to have to do it. But all right, let's call it. It's been a little bit over an hour. Everyone, thanks for watching. And oh wait, I had one other question for you. Have you thought about getting into the restroom trailers? What's that?
You asking me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, no, I have no urge.
Okay, so I didn't either. But basically, every job I was going on to set up a 40 wide, there's always the same company doing restroom trailers, and I didn't want to do it because it's poop. It's poop.
Yep, I don't want to do it either.
Looking into it, you don't deal with it at all. It's a real flushing toilet with a tank, and then you pay someone to come pump it out. So you never see the poop. You never even smell the poop. It just magically gone. So I was like, all right, let's do it. And it's been great. It's easy money basically.
Yeah. I truthfully haven't. What I have thought about, have a guy I'm talking with, who it's actually the guy I'm building from. He owns a portable bar that he built. It's like 30 feet long. It's got taps in it. It is everything. I've kind of been talking about a partner. I've got the clientele that I think he's got weekends where it just sits because he doesn't market it properly.
Right, and you're already an event company, so it kind of goes with that. Like if it's on your website, people may add it.
So we're working on something there, but yeah, that goes, I guess.
Right. See, I have a guy around me who has it's only a 16-foot trailer, but it's got a TV on the outside, TV on the inside, bars on the edge of the trailer. And it just wasn't going out enough for him, but he sold it. But we got our horse trailer bar, which goes out decently. But people do ask about that kind of thing. I just don't think I'd go 30 feet long or 20 feet long.
It's loaded. I mean, it's loaded to the hill.
Right. All right, guys. That was my last question because it made me smile, made me think of it. And since you're already doing weddings and stuff, I was wondering if you're going to do it. I'd think about it because, like I said, you don't see the poop, and that was my main thing. I didn't want to see poop.
I'm in the same boat. I don't want to do it.
Right. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. And maybe at the end of the year, we can get back together and see how your year went.
All right, sounds good.
All right, everyone, have a good night.